Hi, I'm Ewan Blakey, Senior Pastor of Oasis Church. I hope this message gives you hope and helps you take your next step on your Christian journey. We'd love to invite you to come and see us in person at 10 a.m. on Sundays or join us live every Sunday on YouTube. For more info, visit our website, oasischurchperth.com.
So I'm going to speak to you guys for the next 15 minutes, and we're continuing our series that we've been looking at over the Christmas called Unto Us. This is the series we've been looking at. And it's around a prophecy, an amazing prophecy that comes out of the book of Isaiah. Now, Isaiah was a prophet to the people of Israel 700 years before Jesus even came onto the earth. 700 years. 700 years, guys, that is a long time. I know when Mum and Dad say it's only going to be 15 minutes, that seems like a long time. But 700 years is a long, long time. Who here has a really old mum? There's a few. So what's your name? Who's got an old dad? Yeah, so we've got a few old dads. Few old Reuben. Reuben's like, yep. As old as our parents, your parents might be, and I'm kind of reaching that old territory too. It's got nothing on Isaiah. 700 years before Jesus even came upon the scene. Now, I want us to read this prophecy, this incredible prophecy. If you've been with us for the last few weeks, you're probably getting familiar with it. It comes from Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 and 7. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulders, and he will be called, can you read it with me, church? Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God. Kids, can you do the mighty arms? Yes! I've got to give away some beanie boos for some muscly arms. Come on, let's see the muscly arms. Well done, Lexi. I need a boy. Yes? There you go. Okay, Mighty God, what's next? Everlasting Father and Prince of Peace. Prince of Peace. That just sounds good to say that, doesn't it? Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace, there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing it and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. Isaiah has described a person, a human being who will be born upon this earth. He will be called God. Now, can we just take a step back and think about that for a second? Up until then, everyone perceived God to be a spiritual being, the creator God, Yahweh, Jehovah, a God that's an unapproachable light. And Isaiah is now saying, hang on a minute, this is what's going to happen. There's going to be a person, a human like us, that will be born onto this earth, who will be called God. A human who will be called God. That's never been said before, but all of a sudden Isaiah is saying it. There will be a man, a human, a son born to earth who will be God, the Prince of Peace. My mind still boggles as I start to think about the possibility. Can you imagine how dramatic that would have been for those people at that time to think, hang on a minute, God is God and we are human beings, but you're saying that there can be a God who can walk upon this earth like us. That's dramatic, sensational news. Now, we've been looking through the names of God over the last few weeks. So we looked at the Wonderful Counselor. And one of my takeaways from your message, Matt, about the Wonderful Counselor was that it reminds me of a wonderful cup of tea. A wonderful cup of tea. He was so wonderful, and he was our counselor. He gave us the wisdom that we need. Christy talked about the mighty God. And Pastor Craig last week did an amazing job telling us about the wonderful Father, the everlasting Father. And today, we're going to talk about the Prince of Peace. We're not talking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We're not talking about Prince Harry or Prince William. We're talking about the Prince of Peace. Now, when we think about the word prince, we often think about someone who's waiting in line to be the king. The prince who's waiting, just like, Simba in The Lion King. I just can't wait to be king. Like he's waiting, he's wanting to be the king. But this word prince doesn't mean like for somebody who's waiting to be king. It means somebody who's the boss. Somebody who is the king already. The king, the chief of peace, the boss of peace. That sounds to me like a good person. Someone you really want to get to know, don't you think? I'd like to get to know the Prince of Peace. I'd like to be friends with the person who's the boss of peace. How about you? Anyone in the room could do with a little bit of peace in their life? I know that I could do with some peace. I love peace. I just need some. I need more. Now, Isaiah is telling the world that there's going to be somebody who's going to bring peace. That tells me that in his day, there probably wasn't a lot of peace. They needed peace. They wanted peace. So they needed peace then, and we need peace today. You kids, can you help me out? Can you help me understand what peace means? Does anyone know what does peace mean? Anyone have a go? Yeah, would you like to tell me? What does peace mean? Yes.
Peace means that no one's fighting.
No one's frightened or anything. That's a good answer. Anyone else want to have a try? Okay, I see your hand. Yes.
Anyone from the fire.
Okay. Whatever that was, that's good. That deserves a little treat. No, you're not looking anymore. Who gave me that first answer? Oh, there you go. There's a Beanie Boo. Okay, what about the opposite? What's the opposite of peace? What's the opposite of peace? Any answers? Oh, I see that hand up raised so high. What's the opposite of peace? Noisy? Yep, here's a Beanie Boo for you. Noisy. Any other answers? I've got some more to give away. I have to get through my treats. All right. Yep, tell me, what's the opposite of peace? Fighting. Yep, that's a good answer. All right, guys, thank you for your participation. I'm running low. I've got to ration my Beanie Boos. I've got 3 or 4 left, so there's more to come. Don't you worry. The opposite of peace. You know, in the beginning, when God first created Adam and Eve, there was peace. It was beautiful. They were in the Garden of Eden, and there was peace. There was absolute joy. There was nothing in between God and Adam and Eve. They could enjoy one another. They could enjoy one another's company all day long. It was beautiful. And then something happened. Adam and Eve did something which created a fracture, a division. See these eyes light up. What was that thing? What did Adam and Eve do that was wrong? Livia, have you got an answer for me? Yeah? Yeah, you. Somebody else? Yeah? They ate an apple, yeah. Somebody else got an answer for me? Yep. What did they? Yes, right. So they did something wrong, didn't they? What did they do that was... There's a special word for that. Starts with disobedient. Yes, they were disobedient. So they disobeyed what God had said to them. Actually, I need to be giving away treats. Who said disobedient? Who was the other great answer? You. Okay, we're running low. I've got 2 left, so we've got to make them last. So Adam and Eve were disobedient to God. Oh no, we've got some injustice in the house already. We'll have to resolve that later. Intercessors, get working. They were disobedient to God, and that fractured that relationship between God and man. And so there was peace. There was beautiful peace and harmony between God and Adam and Eve. All of a sudden, there's fighting. There's all the opposite things of peace that we talked about before. There was wars. There was family friction. There was misunderstandings. There was sickness and disease. And so all of that sin that was continuing all that time up until the day of Isaiah when he said those words, and he said, there is coming a time, there's going to be somebody who's going to be born, and he is going to be the Prince of Peace. He's going to restore that division between God and man. So we need peace. We really need peace. Guys, can you tell me what it feels like to have peace? Do you know what it feels like to not have peace as well? Anyone can tell me what it feels like to not have peace? Yes? Do you know what it feels like to not have peace? Feels bad. Yep. Annoying brothers. Yeah? Yes? Ungrateful. Okay, let's hear some more stuff. Let's hear some more things. Yep. Oh no, I asked you before. What does it feel like to not have peace? What does it feel like? Noisy, yeah. Rowdy, noisy, yeah. Violence, that's good. Okay. I better give out. I've got one left, so I need to reserve that last one. Fear. That's good. All right, this is my last little thing. Do. Can you catch? Good catch. All right, let's put it together for our kids. They're doing an amazing job so far. And I think I needed a round of applause too, because I'm trying to be a kid master as well. I've never volunteered in kids' church. I don't think I'm going to get a Guernsey anytime soon. Thank you. We've all got something, don't we? We know sometimes when we don't have peace, we can identify when we don't feel peace. It's hard to identify how to get it, how to get that peace back. We know the feeling when we don't have enough. We know the feeling when something's not right. Or all the things that we thought were right suddenly become wrong. Maybe you suddenly realize that you don't have enough money to pay your bills this month. Or you discover that you're just about to lose your job. Or there's a family row that just blows up around about you. Maybe it's a health scare. You thought that you're doing great, thought you were traveling fine, and all of a sudden you get hit with a diagnosis that has just come out of the blue. There's lots of opportunities for us in this world to feel afraid and for us to lose our peace. A feeling suddenly out of your depth. You thought you were standing on solid ground and all of a sudden you're floating free. How do we respond in these moments? How do we respond when our feet that we thought were stable, we thought we knew what was going on, and we get hit by these unexpected tragedies or disasters? How do we react? How do we get that peace back? I want to read to you a story about the disciples that are going through this exact problem. They're going through this exact moment in time. They thought everything was going rosy. They thought everything was fine. And all of a sudden they find themselves in a moment of chaos. And we're going to read together from the Gospel of Mark chapter 4. That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, that's Jesus, let's go over to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along, just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we're going to drown?" Now, how do you think those disciples tried to wake up Jesus? Do you think they would have said, "Oh, Jesus, it's time to wake up from your little nap now"? Or do you think they would have been loud? Does anyone want to have a go at how they would have said, "Wake up, Jesus"? Do you reckon you guys can help me out? And on the count of three, we're going to say, "Wake up, Jesus," in our loudest voices. Going to have a try? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Wake up, Jesus! That was a little bit loud, but I think we could probably do a little bit better. Can we have one more try at it? Okay, on the count of 3, wake up, Jesus. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think you would have waken him up. I think you would have done very well. This is what happens next. He got up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it says it was completely calm. Another translation, he says, "Peace, be still." Shh, quiet, peace. Not a little bit calm, but completely calm. Can you imagine how scared the disciples would have been in that moment? And I wonder too, like with all of that chaos going around them in the boat, these professional fishermen out in the water, out in a boat, they knew boats, they knew how to sail through storms. All of a sudden, they're freaking out, they're thinking they're going to die. Do you think Jesus was fully asleep at that moment? I kind of think that maybe he was like half asleep. He might have been half asleep. You know that moment when you're waking up and your eyes are still closed, but you can hear stuff going on around about you. And I feel like Jesus, this is my interpretation, guys, okay, so don't hang me out to dry. I wonder if he was just lying there on his cushion, listening to all this commotion going on around about him, and just wondering to himself, I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder how long they're going to take to come talk to me. Because they were, at that moment in time, trying to resolve everything in their own strength. They were bailing. They were pulling ropes. They were yelling at one another. There was probably a lot of finger wagging going on. Probably a lot of I told you so's. I told you we shouldn't have gone today. We should have gone tomorrow. Pull that rope. I tell you what, being on a boat sometimes brings out the worst in you. Don't know if anyone's been on a boat before. Pull that rope. No, not that rope, the other rope. The one on the left. No, not that left, the other left. There was all of that going on, all these people trying to fix things themselves, until finally, last resort, they tap Jesus on the shoulder and they say, Jesus, help us, don't you care? And Jesus, the Prince of Peace, stands up and he commands the wind and the waves to be still. And all of a sudden, everything stopped. Completely calm. Can you guys be completely calm? Completely still? You know what? It's so quiet. It became so quiet on that lake that all you could hear was the slopping of the water against that hull of the boat, the occasional rocking and the heavy breathing probably of the disciples. Just completely aghast at what has just happened. Who is this wonderful man? We knew he was good. We knew he was awesome. We'd seen him do miracles, but now actually he has command of the sea and the wind and the waves. Who was this Jesus? He wasn't just a man. He was God. He was Messiah. He was the Prince of Peace. And this God, this person who commanded peace on that lake that day, has the power, has the ability to command peace into our lives today, right here, right now. You know, Jesus, the whole point of him coming to the earth was not just to do wonders, wasn't just to be amazing, wasn't just to demonstrate how good God is, but it was to bridge the gap between us and him once more. It took a person, a human being, to demonstrate and to show the way and to pay the price so that we can walk in unity with God once more. And I want to remind you guys that Jesus isn't just an historical figure that we can look back on. We can read the Bible and read these stories. He's a person who is alive today. He's just as real back then as he is today. So he can talk to you and he can talk to me just like I'm talking to you now. He's that real. He's that real, and he wants that sort of relationship with us today. He's waiting for us. You know, when we're going through our trials and our difficulties, this is what tends to happen. And I'm guilty of this too. I put Jesus at the bottom of my list. I go through the other things that I can do first. You know, the practical things. I can bail. I'm good at bailing. I'm good at pulling on ropes. I'm good at doing what I know what to do. And when I've exhausted all of those things, then I'll try them another time, and maybe another 2 or 3 times after that as well. And then when I'm finally out of options, I'll go, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. We do tend to put Jesus at the bottom of our list, and I don't know why we do that, but we do it. But when we call out the name of Jesus, he responds. He listens. He was like, finally, you're calling my name. I'm the one who can bring peace. I'm the one who can bring peace to your life. The Prince of Peace. He's the one who can resolve all of those challenges that you're facing right now. And when we call on his name, he will hear you and he will respond. He's closer than you think. He's right there in the boat. He's right there in the boat, waiting for you to respond, waiting for you to call his name.